Fully charged with awesome features or sort of behind the competition, the Google-made Fitbit Charge 6 is here and I'm just done testing it. How did it go? Let's inspect! Well, here's the deal. When we assess technology, we usually do this based on certain criteria. That could be the price tag, the closest rivals, the technical specifications, sometimes even the brand. So when Google announced the availability of Fitbit Charge 6, I knew I want to try out this fitness tracker, especially knowing that out there on the market there already are a bunch of good smart bands, such as the Mi Band 8 series, the Huawei Band series, and many others. And because of the high price tag, I did have high expectations. In some ways, this has totally delivered. In others, maybe it was a little bit disappointing. So, which are the strong and the weak sides of Fitbit Charge 6? We find out in this review. Because the price is kind of high for a smart band. Launched at $159, and you can buy 2 sets of Xiaomi Smart Band 7 Pro or even Amazfit GTR smartwatch. But could be that Google have packed some surprises and armed it with features that others could not match. Although the close to 40% discount for Black Friday makes me think that Google somewhat confess it could have been a little better at this price point. Unboxing feels good, though. It's a Fitbit, so besides the nice box, there's a fairly good presentation of the tracker. Also, Google include a longer band for people with larger wrists. The shorter one was just about right on my medium-sized wrist, but having a second option is nice to have. A thing to note about the design is the perfect alignment to the strap size. It looks very similar to Generation 5. The display has the same size, and the health tracking sensors are on the back and are positioned in the very same way. The physical button makes its way back and it's positioned on the left, something that you may feel as inconvenience if you have previously used a watch with button placed on the right side. But at the same time, Charge 6 happens to be one of the very few trackers which are perfect for left-handed people. If you care about the specs, a 1.04 display size, battery life up to 7 days, optical heart rate monitor, built-in GPS and GLONASS, sensors for oxygen saturation monitoring, ambient light sensor, NFC for contactless payments. The band is water-resistant and very lightweight, supported by both iOS and Android. Well, the specs are not superb, so I would say they're just fine. And Google once again keep us in the dark about the system on a chip inside used and also the battery capacity. But we know that battery life is rather okay, because this would last up to a week on a single charge, maybe 2 to 3 days if you use always-on display. And to me, that has been a bit irritating because of the very slow recharging speed. And this whole battery endurance makes the Fitbit Charge 6 a bit worse as compared to the Mi Band 8 series or the Huawei Band 8 series. But I believe there are 3 key features which kind of make the Fitbit Charge 6 stand out against the competition. First of all, we have auto brightness support thanks to the ambient light sensor inside. There is NFC for contactless payments, and yes, Google Wallet is supported. And last but not least, we have inbuilt GPS, and if we count the last 2 options plus the colorful AMOLED display, the Fitbit Charge 6 happens to be the much more reasonable choice if we compare to the Garmin Vivo Smart series. So apparently, although the hardware is not superb, it's fairly decent, and now it's interesting to see about the software experience. It's the part that hopefully Google did right, given the resources the company has access to. Navigation is straightforward. You swipe up and this shows the health summary. Sadly, unlike what it is for other trackers, these cards are not interactive and not shortcuts to the apps. Swipe down for the quick toggles. Google Wallet is the first choice, which now replaces Fitbit Pay. There are toggles for sleep mode, HR remote device connection, shortcut to the settings. This is what we get over here. At any point of time, you can go to the home screen using the back button, and you can change the look of the home screen, but not with the well-known tap and hold option. The feature is inside the settings menu, together with some other controls over heart rate tracking, vibration strengths and similar. Swiping left or right from the main screen lets you check the various apps available, which here are represented in the form of cards, most likely because of the surprisingly small display size. And despite the fact it's just around 1 inch about size, I'd say it's well visible most times. If you're indoors, because a peak brightness of 450 nits is unimpressive outdoors. Some flagship smartphones go as high as 3000 nits already, just saying. Many people are praising the implementation of Google Maps, which is helpful about navigation, however has nothing to do with the Wear OS edition of the Google Maps application. The presence of YouTube Music is quite a nice surprise too, but I also see this as a potential drawback because Fitbit Charge 6 can only control YouTube Music player on the smartphone and nothing else. If we go to the notification tile, it reveals a well-structured card, and you can use predefined responses in order to interact with notifications. As a short preliminary summary, the software is fluid, with well-designed structure, somewhat limited about customizations, but overall functional. Now, let's check the Fitbit smartphone app. It's the one visualizing the collected statistical data and will help us to find how accurate or inaccurate these measurings are. Heart rate tracking is good and detailed. It can detect spikes. When you stress your body, the HR quickly gains, and it feels that the heart rate tracking is as precise as what we get on the Google Pixel Watch 2. Many people report significant improvements over Fitbit Charge 5, plus now you can link your device to the Peloton service. SpO2 tracking is also present. It shows the blood oxygen saturation measured from your skin. Sleep tracking is also available, and while Pixel 2 didn't impress me that much, Fitbit Charge 6 has been a lot more consistent and accurate. Splendid job so far and absolutely correct input by the sensors. The GPS tracking is a bit off, though. Fetching satellite signal is taking time, and I could notice some not too close to the reality lines. But overall, it is well usable. Perhaps Google have tried to achieve a good balance between accuracy and battery life, and I believe it will be good enough for jogging purposes unless you seek for professional-grade GPS performance. To stay motivated, you may receive emails with summary about your past periods and even warnings should the battery percentage drop below 20%. From within the Fitbit app, you could configure a lot more, of course. The watch faces, the app lists. You can fine-tune even some of the settings. Important to mention that you're gonna get a 6-month Fitbit Premium subscription for free, after which it costs $10 per month. Honestly, some of these premium features are not something you can't live without, but of course many of them are nice to have. Speaking of nice to have things, I feel like talking about drawbacks already. A brighter and larger display would be nice to have on this band, somewhat faster charging because 2 hours are way too much. The lack of third-party music players control feels limiting as well. In the end, this is rather good, apparently not perfect, but given the whole package, I think Fitbit Charge 6 is a very reasonable choice, especially if you want to stay away from Chinese brands and you look something which is better than the Garmin Vivo Smart series, and you want GPS, NFC payments, the Google ecosystem, and apparently long years of software support. I think Fitbit Charge 6 could be a very reasonable catch, especially knowing that around Black Friday the price was around just $100. On the other hand, if you have the Charge 5, this hardly can be called an upgrade because it reuses a lot of the hardware of the previous generation. So I think it would be interesting to talk about what you prefer, the Fitbit Charge 6 with all these awesome features, the GPS and the contactless payments, or you can settle down with the $30 Xiaomi Smart Band 8. Would be great to talk about this in the comment section below the video. And thank you very much for watching this episode, hopefully useful, and in case you want to go for your next fitness tracker, I think you should ask yourself the question, do you really need such kind of tech? Because very often marketing and tech reviews are kind of pushing you towards buying something, and here the whole point is to show you all the strong and the weak sides so that you can make an informed decision. That's been everything for today. Thank you very much for watching the episode. Would be fantastic if you can support me by liking the video, subscribing, and I, the TechMishka, look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye!